Walt Seeley was a volunteer firefighter, and he's been mitigating his 10 acres for over a decade.
Start out close to the house and work our way out, thin the trees. They're competing so hard for oxygen, for moisture, for sunlight. None of them does well. So we started sawing them out, eliminating many, leaving a few. The few that do remain survive and thrive.
Seeley's efforts meant the fire largely stayed out of the crowns, and so most of his trees survived. His years of work and good defensible space meant firefighters could protect the house safely without retreating. Equipment, mitigation, defensible space, fire-resistant buildings, good access to homes, and trained firefighters all help preserve properties in a wildfire. But when you have areas as overgrown as the Black Forest was, and in many places still is, there are no guarantees. Wind-driven crown fires create what firefighters know as extreme fire behavior.
There really wasn't much that anybody could do to stop it. Mother Nature was in charge.
Ron Culp retired from the Colorado Springs Fire Department and had thinned many trees on his property. It was not enough against a crown fire.
I've been told that we had temperatures between 2,500 and 2,800 degrees. But if you really do the mitigation that you should do, your place will survive except in an extreme firestorm like we had.
The more mitigation an area has, the better the survival odds for people, for property, for firefighters, and for the forest itself.
If you can imagine a community quilt and all the homes in that neighborhood are a square on the quilt. Well, one square looks really good by itself, but when you add another square and another square, all of a sudden it gets better and better and better. And that's how it works with mitigation.
Mitigated neighborhoods, like High Forest Ranch, are where firefighters had the greatest success during the Black Forest fire.
About that time I looked up and it happened to get up in the crowns, making a crown run right at us. Everybody made a quick retreat back to the safety zone, but because of the mitigation work that neighborhood had done, it died down back to a ground fire really quick. We were able to work hard and do good work and save the whole neighborhood.
A vicious crown fire also came roaring toward the Cathedral Pines area. It's another example where mitigation on a community-wide scale altered the fire's behavior and allowed firefighters to safely protect homes.
So the fact that the community overall was mitigated was a huge component. It was done at a landscape scale, which kept big fire from entering the community.
We're still fighting a ground fire versus a crown fire. 1 to 2 foot flame lengths coming into the neighborhood versus 150 to 200 foot flame lengths coming into the neighborhood.
And so we utilized that community and continuous string of mitigated properties as a point to hold the fire, and it was a success.
And community-wide mitigation efforts help preserve the forest as well as properties.
Folks, as a community, need to look at why they live where they live. Most people that live out in these type of wooded environments are here because of the woods. You may be able to do mitigation around your home that can save your structure during a fire, and that's obviously well worth doing. If the fire destroys a lot of the vegetation in the community, that takes away your reason for living there in the first place. So it's a preservation of lifestyle, it's a preservation of the environment.
I can rebuild a house, but I cannot rebuild a 120, 140-year-old forest.